Hi everybody, welcome back to the kitchen. I'm Jo Michaels, the baking author, and today we're going to make chicken and sausage gumbo. Yay! I actually wrote my recipe down. I don't usually follow a recipe, as most of you know, but I wrote it down, so we're ready to go. I may end up changing a few things along the way because, like I said, I don't usually write it down. But that being said, so how we're going to start out is we have a big pot, always a huge like stock pot, because you don't cook gumbo for just two people. It's always a lot. I have a chicken hanging out in the sink, still in its little wrapper. Onion, bell pepper, garlic, celery seed. Now options are you can use actual celery in this. If you're using celery seed, don't use much, it's very potent. If you're using celery, just toss the stalks in there. Most of this stuff is going to be coming out before we finish it up, so you want pieces of things like that you can fish out with, I'm going to throw that at you, a skimmer, something like that. You just kind of want to skim the stuff out of it. Anyway, that being said, let's do gumbo. I grew up in Louisiana, so chicken and sausage gumbo was always a staple around my house. I'm going to tell you guys everything that you're going to need. Of course, you can also find it in the description below the video and in the cookbook. So, one of the things that you're going to find a little strange is Richard sausage. Now, they make, it's a Louisiana sausage, and they make like 3 different kinds. They make spicy, green onion, and mild. Okay, that's the ones I know of. They may have more down there. I order it from a place called Cajun Grocer. It ships overnight with some dry ice, stays really cold. It's excellent. So I will also put the link for the Cajun Grocer in the description of the video down below. So if you guys want to try it, you can. It doesn't taste like any other sausage I've ever had. And I've eaten a lot of sausage since I moved to Georgia for that exact reason. Because I have to have it shipped and it's kind of expensive to get it here. So, if you're going to do andouille, I don't recommend it, but if you gotta, you gotta. Like if that's all you can find, you can't afford to have it, get it from Cajun Grocer. I get it, use andouille. Don't put shrimp in this, okay? It's not a seafood gumbo, it's a chicken and sausage gumbo. You don't really mix the two. You're gonna need chicken broth. I don't care if you don't like okra. Every good gumbo needs okra, so some canned okra or okra and tomatoes, totally up to you. You need a bay leaf, a couple onions, bell peppers, a whole chicken. Like I said, the stalks of celery, if you used it before, you can go ahead and just chop that up and throw it in there. But if you want to get new ones, you can, but you got to slice them really thin because they got to cook fast. I think that's it. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to put water in our pot and we're going to season this water with a little seasoning, and then we're going to taste it, okay? And then we're going to add our chicken because this is your base broth for your gumbo, so you want it to have a lot of flavor. Salt, obviously, some garlic, bell pepper, I have an onion, I also have celery seed and tarragon. I love tarragon with chicken. It just kind of gives it that 2 punch. Then we'll throw our chicken in there and get it boiling. So let me put some water in this pot. I'm kind of guessing about how much it'll take to cover this chicken. I'm going to fill it about halfway, like so. It's about half a pot of water. I brought it to about here. You're also going to need for your roux, you're going to need some butter, some olive oil, and some flour. And I put more garlic in there too, because that's how I roll. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and turn that on to boil. And I'm not going to like rinse my chicken off or anything. Who rinses a chicken? And yeah, I know you guys all remember that from social media. That was a fun discussion. Rinsey the chicken. Me no washi, just so you know. Me no washi. I'm just popping a couple of these garlic cloves off this bulb. Like I said, I'm going to leave them mostly whole. I'm doing it in the bag so the garlic crap doesn't get all over everything. Let's go with 3. My recipe says 2, but I really like garlic, so let's go with 3. No vampires in this house, I'll tell you what. Now when we get to the roux part, I have a few tips and tricks to give you guys on those. It's a little tricky sometimes. You gotta really watch it. But burned roux, nobody wants that in their gumbo, so just don't do it, okay? So I'm gonna use my little knife and just chop all the garlic tops off. And then take the paper, and I'm gonna pick up the one that fell on the floor. Yes, it's like forefront in my mind right now. It's bothering me, so you wouldn't even believe how bad it's bothering me. So just a whole clove of garlic, and we're just gonna pop it right in the water. Just loosening up that skin. I'm not really popping these super hard. I just want them to pop out of their skin easily. Like whenever I do it for other things, I hit it hard enough to kind of make it break down, but you don't really want it to break down. So just garlic into pot. Garlic into pot. I will fish it out later. Anything that goes in here is just to build our stock, okay? We're not trying to season anything. All of our happy Cajun seasonings will go in later. I'm just gonna take, I hate onion paper. Why? It's like it just sticks to everything, and then you get like paper in your onions when you're cooking them. It's just gross. Why do onions have paper on them? I don't know. I'm gonna have to look that up though. Because I am a well of useless facts. It would be nice to know why onions have paper. Alright, we're just gonna chop that into 4 pieces. Woo! And into the water it goes. Good thing that wasn't boiling because it literally just splashed all up my arm. Now for this bell pepper, just take the sticker off. That's always a good start. I gotta pick it up, y'all. I can see it out the corner of my eye. It's driving me nuts. Like a poplar seed falling off into airplanes. Oh my Lord. Okay. Now we're just gonna cap this bell pepper. I'm keeping the little ringy, putting it in there. It's all going in boiling water, so. And I'm just taking the pith and the seeds out, because I'm not gonna want to use that later. Make sure the bloom end is off. Bam! Hollowed out pepper. Putting it right down in that water. And you're like, boy, you should have cut it in half. Well, probably, but okay, whatever. So to complete the Holy Trinity, and the Holy Trinity is celery, onions, and peppers, I'm just going to put about 1/4 teaspoon of celery seed, not celery salt, celery seed, into my pot. And I can smell it already, so it's very potent. And a couple of tablespoons of tarragon, because tarragon is my friend. That's about a tablespoon. I have a tablespoon around here somewhere. Just to show you my measurements aren't too far off. Damn it, I dropped some. Okay, whatever. Tablespoon. And tablespoon. So 2 tablespoons of tarragon. And again, this is just to build flavor. And then salt. And we are going to liberally salt this water after it boils. After it boils. Salt water takes longer to come to a boil, so just going to give this a nice mix around with my spoon. Mmm, smells good. Come on, pot, boil. Watch the pot never boils. That's actually not true. You can sit there and watch it and it will come to a boil eventually. It just feels like longer. Putting my spices away. Now if you get to your next step where you take your chicken out and take everything out, you're going to taste your broth again. And then we're going to adjust the seasoning. And then it's got to boil. Yeah, it's all fun. Anyway, so right after I get this on and get it boiling, I'm going to move it back there. And I'm going to go ahead and make my roux. Because my roux, you don't want it hot when you add it to the water. Otherwise it explodes, okay? So what we're going to do is get this boiling over this large stove eye here. And then we're going to move it to a small stove eye, also set on high. And make our roux here on this one because my pan is about this size. Okay? So, boil. Double, double, toil and trouble. Later on, we are going to add some chicken stock to this just to give it a little more chicken flavor. But if you don't have gumbo filet, it comes in a container that looks like this. We'll be using that later too. That's one of the spices that, man, it's got like sage and a couple other things that is really good. Let's see if it says. Oh no, it's not sage. My bad. It's sassafras. Sassafras leaves. You wouldn't believe the flavor this stuff has. It's amazing. But you gotta have this or you don't have gumbo. Go figure. Alright, we're boiling. I see all the little bubbles. I banged my spoon on the side of my pot earlier, didn't I? Sorry. My bad habits returned once I got out from in front of the camera. My husband's like, I can't believe you banging around again. Always banging around. Just keep your tablespoon out because you'll need it again later. And I got trash and garlic. You also gonna need a bay leaf. And we're actually gonna chop an onion to put in the final there. This is just for flavor for the broth. It has like a licorice-y smell, but it doesn't taste like licorice, if that makes sense. It's very good. Now, the reason we didn't put our chicken in, obviously, is because we're going to taste this water. Make sure we get it salty enough, make sure our spices are good. We may have to adjust some things. You may need a little more celery seed. You may need a little more salt. You may want to throw another garlic clove in there. You don't know. So you got to taste your food. And I am going to leave the giblets and everything in the chicken. It's getting the heart, the liver, the everything. Everything is going into this pot. I want it much flavor as I can get. So, I should probably put the salt in before I taste this, huh? That was about a tablespoon and a half of salt. About. I'm just going to dissolve it. Hey, I didn't bang my spoon. Be proud. Be proud. That actually could use a little more celery seed. It definitely needs some more salt. About a teaspoon. Okay, now I'm going to pop it over here. Got to move my board. Get a counter protector. And take my pot to my chicken. Instead of trying to drag my chicken all the way over there. I'm just going to turn that off while I'm doing this. Kitchen scissors. Kitchen scissors and scissors that you use to open boxes should be two different things. Kitchen scissors, or cooking scissors, should only touch food, okay? Only food. You wash them, you let them dry, only food. Your other scissors you can use to open boxes or whatever, but these are strictly food, okay? Alright, I got my chicken in a bag. I actually had it sitting on a tray because it sat in the fridge overnight to defrost. Well, actually for like 2 days. But, it is what it is. Alright, all I'm going to be doing here is checking to make sure that my chicken has no paper in it. Sometimes companies like to put all the chicken goodies in a bag before they shove them down the chicken. Look at that, as the neck going in the water. All right, I don't see a bag in there. Good deal. All right, lowering my chicken into his sauna. Her sauna. It's not a rooster. It's a hen. You can tell because it's got a lot of fat on it under the skin. Hey, look at that. Fits in the pot. I'm going to wash my hands because I just touched the chicken. Y'all, I spatchcocked a chicken the other night. Put some butter under the breast skin. Made the chicken look like it had boobies. I was cracking up. And then the way that the legs were positioned, chicken looked like it had to pee. Don't think I didn't share that on social media because I totally did. My pepper's under the chicken. It's kind of like poking up here. Oh, come on. Really? I'll miss the chicken. There we go. Get back in there, Pepper. See, I didn't cut it because I want to be able to get it out later, because then I'm going to cut it and put it back in there. Now my chicken is fully submerged in the water, and I need to wash my hands again because I just touched raw chicken. Ugh. I swear I'm surprised I have any kind of skin left on my hands at all as much as I cook and wash my hands. Now I'm just waiting for this to come back to a boil. It's going to take a minute because my chicken was still a little cold. Then I'm going to move it and we're going to move on to our roux. Roux is so fun. Nope, it's not. You can buy pre-made roux. Yes, you can. And it's guaranteed not to be burnt ever. Ever. I will grab mine out of the fridge and show it to you, but we're going to make roux, so I'm not really cheating today, but sometimes I do. The roux is made by Richard's as well, and it comes in a jar, and it is thick. So let me get that boiling. I don't want it to boil over. I'm kind of being a nervous Nelly. Okay. The last thing I want is chicken juice on my counter. Gotta take out the OJ to get to the Richard. It stays in the back of my fridge because I rarely use it. Go ahead and grab my butter while I'm in here. So this is what roux looks like in a jar. This is Richard's roux. I'm gonna open it if I can. Oh yeah. And if you can see down in there, there's like oil. I don't know if you can see that. There's oil on top of this very thick paste. That's roux. And you can see the color of it. It's like a deep reddish brown. So pretty. But there's a lot of like seasonings and stuff in there. Okay, my pot is actively boiling. So I'm going to turn on high. Actually like 2.5. And put a lid on it. That'll help hold the heat in so it'll keep cooking. And it already splashed on my counter. Of course it did. Alright. Now we're going to take out a pan. And we're going to put some butter in it. So I got to whip my flour too. Hang on a minute. Ta-da! Got the flour. Actually, I had to go refill it really quickly. But that's okay. So, for your roux, you want a 1/2 cup of butter. Really. That's a stick. Okay? About 2 tablespoons of olive oil. And you're going to want to melt this over like medium-low heat. Okay? You can see my pan's already hot because this stove I was still hot. I put my garlic away, didn't I? Oh no! Okay, let's pop this back in here and get my garlic back out of the fridge. You know what? I'm not even going to do that. We're going to change on a dime here and use some pre-minced jarred garlic because it's life right now, okay? Yes. All right, about 2 tablespoons of olive oil. We're going to let those get happy. I'm turning this to like medium low, like 3. Because you want it to cook, but you don't want it to get too hot too fast. This can change on you like that, okay? I use a regular tablespoon for dipping my flour. And no, I don't know how much flour it's going to take. It's going to take as much flour as it takes. We will count together. How's that sound? But this is what turns your gumbo into gumbo. And let me tell you what, I've had some bad gumbo. The roux was burned all to hell, and you could taste it. It was all through the stuff. Oh my God, UPS is here. Wonder what they're bringing me. I like packages. Packages. This is why I do Amazon subscribe and save. Because packages. It feels like Christmas every month. I'm like, yay, coffee! Yay, laundry detergent! Oh my Lord, I know. I have serious problems. Okay, so my butter and my oil are just kind of whisked together here. I'm going to start adding my flour. And just sprinkle it in and give it a whisk as you go. We're going for a very thick, pasty kind of substance here. This makes 3. I don't know if y'all counting with me here. But that's 3. I'm just going to pop my spoon down and make sure this gets really well incorporated and all those little flour bits get broken up. This really works the other way. I'm right-handed, y'all. All right, 4. And I don't recommend doing this in a nonstick pan. I actually hate doing this in a nonstick pan, but it's all the pans I have. I used to have a stainless steel pan, and it was the best. The best for making roux. All right, how many was that? Like 4? All right, here comes number 5. Number 5. Still not thick enough. Number 6. We're getting there. Getting there, getting there, getting there. I will show you guys what the consistency should be like once I get all my flour in here. Look at that, 7. Uh-oh. I put 6 on my recipe. Like I said, I don't write this stuff down, so I will make a note. It's going to take more than 6. Looking like 8. But you want it to be thick. It's not like a roux for anything else. This is gumbo roux is very different. It doesn't really do anything to thicken the gumbo. It's there for flavor. All right. Maybe 8.5. Yep, 8.5. 8.5 regular kitchen tablespoons full of flour. Probably come out to like 1/4 cup. Anyway, your roux should look like this. It should kind of be a little chunky. Now, back off it. Leave it on medium low, okay? It's going to brown. That flour is going to cook. As the flour cooks, you can't just be sitting here stirring it constantly. All right, so you see me, I'm talking to you. My flour is browning. Once I kind of think it needs to be stirred, I'm going to stir it. Then I'm going to do it again after I pause. So right now I'm waiting. And remember, you can't really add more oil or butter, so what you have here is what you have here. If you add too much flour, you're screwed. I have no other way of saying that. All right, now there were little like pockets in my flour, and those have filled with liquid. So I'm just going to give it a little stir. Your roux should be thick, really thick. Look kind of like a pancake, but not quite. All right, I'm going to let that cook a few minutes. And I hear electronics in my house going crazy. Probably from my UPS delivery. I'm a big worrier of food, y'all. I will touch it, flip it around, press on it, nudge it. I'm a hot mess. This is one of those things that you can't. If you worry your food here, it won't come out right. So just sit and watch. Have the patience. I don't have the patience. I am a right here, right now kind of person. So, oh, you guys like my new hairdo? This is because it has grown out during quarantine. And here in Georgia, we are still not 100% clear, so I am not risking the hair shop treatment. And I have bangs. They're really long. Just shake your pan to redistribute that roux across the bottom. Remember, you're cooking medium low heat. Don't be tempted to turn it up. I mean, you're going to be tempted to turn it up, but don't touch it. Leave it alone. And once this cooks, I'm just going to move it off the heat and let it hang out here. I'm going to stop it just before it's done because the pan will retain some heat and I don't want to have to put it into another bowl. Right. A lot of people like to add their seasonings to their roux. I don't do that either. The roux is just the roux, and I add it to the gumbo. I add my garlic, but then I add it to the gumbo, and it's all good. You don't need to go crazy here. You also gonna need your can of Tony's. I have 3 of these in my pantry. Tony Chachere's. You need this. Well, you don't need it, but hey, it's delicious. I have a son that puts it on spaghetti. Making sure I'm truly on medium low. Pulsing the Red Sea. No, it's not red. Barely even brown. It is changing color though. It started white and now it's kind of this light sandy color. I don't know if you can see that. Oh. But it's getting there. Just gonna stir it really quickly. When it starts to darken, it's gonna darken fast. That's why I said don't walk away from it or leave it or any of that stuff. So you're just watching it. It's so exciting to just watch food. But gumbo is one of those things, man. If you can nail it, I always start whenever I go to a new Cajun restaurant. I order their gumbo. That's the first thing I eat. Because if they can do gumbo, they can do anything. And I have gotten some bad gumbos, y'all. Bad. Bad. I got one with corn in it. I don't think I've ever seen a gumbo with corn in it in Louisiana. Maybe it exists. I don't know. Never had corn in my gumbo, I'll tell you that. But okra in every gumbo. Unless the cooks don't like okra, which in Louisiana is it's kind of a sin. People be like, you don't like no okra? You're like, no, I don't like no okra. They're like, you crazy. I mean, they eat it pickled. I love pickled okra. But now it's starting to smell kind of caramelly. And if I were making my smothered pork chops, this is where I would stop. It's a nice blonde, it's like Shetland blonde roux. This works beautifully for the smothered pork chops. At this point, you would put in your onions and stew them around, and then you would put your pork chops in there and put your sausage in there. Let me tell you what, that's a good dish. Perhaps I will make it for you at some point. Yeah, perhaps. So I've kind of smeared some flour up the side of my pan, and I can see that whenever it's changing color, and that tells me you need to stir this. I can smell it cooking now. And now I can very clearly see it changing colors when I whisk it. That's what I'm looking for. We are so close to being done with this roux. Now it is a caramel color. And again, roux is not a thickener for a gumbo. It's a flavor. See the color? Pretty. So pretty. Low and slow, please. If you're willing to sit here and just constantly stir it, you can put it on medium-ish. It doesn't really come out the same as it does when you low and slow. And you saw the color of the roux that was in that jar. We're about a quarter of the way there. But it will start to brown a lot faster now. And the change between done and overdone, that fast. That fast. If I could snap my fingers. I don't know what just happened. But it's also less chunky now. It's more of a smooth liquid. So you don't have like flour pieces hanging out in it anymore. They've just kind of melted and become this harmonious, beautiful bubble, bubble, toil and trouble. That's kind of what it makes me think of. Witch's brew. My chicken ain't boiling. Boiled chicken. Should be boiling. But anyway, if you add hot roux to water, you saw the fats that we put in here. Oil, butter. If you've ever poured hot oil into water, you know what I'm talking about. It explodes. So we don't want exploding gumbo. We want regular gumbo. We might call this explosive gumbo. But we don't want it to be exploding gumbo. Oh, now we're coming. Oh my God, that's so pretty. You guys. I will show you with a spoon. I will actually dip it and bring it around there and show you when it's finished. But now we're about halfway there. Maybe a little more than half. Such a pretty color. But you can use this technique for a lot of things. It looks like it's like the Matrix moving down the pan, but it's just bubbles popping on the surface. It's kind of cool. Now is when you get a little more antsy and checking that color, because it does color up fast on the bottom and not so much on the top. Patience is a virtue, my friends. Patience is a virtue. Takes time for perfection, and we are going for perfection here. My mama always used the jarred roux, but she liked my gumbo better. So that should tell you something. You can season this if you want to, but there's not really any point. Whoa. It's kind of mesmerizing. I'm going to have to show you guys what it's doing. Let me get my camera. I will put that in the video. Ooh. Now this is what I mean. You'll see in the video the top color and the color of it right now. It jumped up quite significantly. Trying to make sure I'm staying over the heat here. Now it's like a very brown person. It's literally all I can think of. Somebody who is tanned. You been out in the sun all summer? I have. I can tell. And that's what I'm talking about whenever I say the top does not denote the bottom. It will darken on you so fast you won't know what happened. We are almost there. Not quite, almost. Stay over the heat, please. I'm wiggling my pan everywhere. Ooh-wee mama. Alright, let me get a spoon for my garlic. I'm going to put this spoon away. Put the lid back on my flour. Now it's starting to smell like gumbo roux. Woo! And stir it again. Oh, we're getting there. A little faster than we were before. Again, I want to take that darker roux and mix it in with the lighter roux so it all comes up together. Down? So it all comes down together. I know this is like a super boring part of this episode. However, these are things you need to know if you're going to try to cook Cajun food. It's time consuming. That garlic is also going to sizzle big time when it hits this pan, so be prepared. It's almost done. So close. So very close. I think I'm going to let it go one more shade and then I'm going to pull it off the heat. I don't want to overdo it. Remember how I talked about overdoing it? I don't want to do that. But this will also thicken really, really thick while it sits and hangs out on your stove as it cools, because butter and oil. And I think that is good. If I go much more than that, it's going to burn just sitting here in the pan. And I think that doing it this way cooks the thickening properties out of the flour. But you're going to see later, it's not a slow process, a gumbo. It's going to take all day. But boiling the chicken was just the beginning. I'll turn that down to 1 and turn that off. Because obviously it wasn't doing what I was supposed to do. That's really hot. I can't believe I just wiped that with my finger. Okay, now I'm going to throw some garlic in here. It may sizzle. Yeah. Because this is stupid hot. But it gives this roux just a little bit of flavor. Now you will see what I'm talking about when I say it's going to change color off the heat. It did. It darkened by about 2 shades while I was just sitting here. But that's kind of what I'm after. And I don't want it to burn this garlic, so I'm going to keep the garlic moving. I can certainly smell it. And since it's not on the heat anymore, that's what happens if you try to put the hot roux in the water, by the way, only on a much larger scale. It's like kapow! Not pretty. And since this garlic came out of the fridge, it won't burn. Don't use room temperature garlic. It will burn. This should be nice and brown by the time this pan cools down. I'm going to come show you what this looks like. I'm actually going to dip a little spoon of this. It kind of looks like really bad diarrhea. Okay, is my camera going to focus on it? I think that's too close. Yeah, it's not going to let me focus. I don't know if you can see the color at all. That's really what I was trying to show you. Anyway. And if I had waited just another minute to pull it off that heat, it would have burned. You can also remove it from the pan. That'll help. You want to protect your color. Just take it right out of the pan. But this, don't eat it. It doesn't taste good. It kind of, actually it's nasty as hell. But I'm going to make sure this stays off the heat. And I'm just going to leave it right here in this pan, and I will use a rubber spatula to scrape it into there later. I would say this probably made a good ½ a cup of roux, maybe a little more, 3/4 of a cup, probably 3/4 of a cup. You won't need to use it all. You will need to use some of it. Not all of it. There's still little bubbles everywhere. I'm gonna see if I can get you guys a picture. What? Trying to put my shadow all over it. Okay, I took you guys a picture of what it looks like in this pan. You're going to notice that it's still kind of bubbling here and there. That's okay. It won't hurt it. I'm going to put my garlic away. Alright. Now, I have things to wash. Oh, not washing that. I have things in there I need to wash, and my chicken needs to finish cooking. That's going to take probably an hour. I want it to literally be falling off the bones. Or you could just cook it until it's 200 degrees in the thickest part of the breast and pop it out. It's totally up to you. But we know that's going to taste good, right? Because we tasted the water. So once we get the chicken out, it'll have to cool. So I'm going to do all of that without bothering you guys. Like, I'll take the chicken out and set it aside to cool. And then I'll come back once it's cool and we'll finish this up. Okay? All right, guys. I'll be back in just a little bit. Enjoy. Hey guys, I'm back. I did manage to boil my chicken out all over my stove, so I had to clean that mess up and clean the bottom of the pot so we don't have a big mess coming back. But I fished out my pepper, put it on my cutting board, and I deboned my chicken, so it's been a minute, okay? This next part of what we're about to do is going to take about 30 to 40 minutes. I'm not going to make you watch all of that, but what we're going to do is chop up our onion, season our broth, add our roux, okay? Once you add the roux, you boil this for half an hour. Got that? You got to boil it for half an hour. So spend that half an hour cutting other things up. I also retrieved my sausage from the freezer, and I will show you what the package looks like. I will probably use about half of this. Reed shards, crazy Cajun, hot and spicy. So maybe half, I guess that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 links. And it's 2.5 pounds, so I'm guessing like 1.25 pounds. Yeah! Woo! I did the math. Look at me go. All right. So I'm going to taste this. This is just my chicken broth. I don't know why I just put packing material into my chicken. Mmm. So far, so good. Let's see what we got here. Holy crap, that has a lot of flavor. All right. Oh, let's see. You don't have celery seed, thinly slice your celery. I'm trying to read my own recipe here. Bay leaf. I like to throw a bay leaf in there now, and then whoever gets it has to do the dishes, because that's the routine. 1, and maybe, ooh, that's a big one. Let's not put that one in there. Another little one. All right. I'm going to add some more garlic, but right now I'm going to add my Tony's. If you don't have Tony's, use cayenne pepper and salt and garlic, because all of that is in here. I'm out in this jar, but I will get the other one. I'm probably going to put a good 3 or 4 tablespoons in there. Also, gumbo filet. I showed you that earlier. You are going to want a couple of tablespoons of that too. And just go for it. You ain't gonna hurt it, okay? Now we'll give this a stir. The gumbo filet really adds a depth of flavor that you don't get with any other spice. It turns your broth dark. Yes, I did just burn myself. It turns your broth kind of dark. We're gonna pop this up to high, and I'm going to get that roux in here. As you can see, the oil kind of separated just a little bit from the rest of the roux. Looks kind of like that stuff that was in that there jar, and it's gonna be thick. There's something else that's in that there jar. It's very thick. You don't need it all, It refrigerates well. You can add it to your jar of roux that's already in there if you want. Don't eat it. I know it looks like gravy. Looks like gravy, looks like a little pecan. Yum yum, but it is not. It is not. So get it in your pan. Like I said, this stops it from popping all over you. It's gonna melt. Make sure your pan's set over high heat, okay? Once it comes to a boil, I used about half of what was in the pan. So once this comes to a boil, I'm gonna boil it for half an hour. I'm gonna taste it again, don't worry. All right, I'm going to gather the rest of the stuff that needs to go in here. Well, after I chop up this pepper. And I'm just putting a really rough chop on it because I'm fixing to throw it right back in that chicken bowl. All right, I'm gonna go gather up my onion, okra and tomatoes, canned, because can't really find okra around here. I know, it's so crazy. I live in Georgia, you would think, but no. So let me go gather that and my sausage. I'll get it off that block. I'll be right back with you guys. Yay. Hey guys, I'm back. My roux is melted, I think. I'm going to add some chicken broth. Uh-oh. I don't have my chicken broth. Where'd it go? Let me go find my chicken broth. I'll be right back. That's about to boil. Just turn that down just a smidge so it doesn't go all over the stove while I'm gone. Okay, I'm back. Whoa. This is gonna like rolling boil and foam on top. So you're gonna wanna kind of stay near it and control your heat. So what things I keep in my kitchen or pantry all the time, these are usually in the fridge, is chicken base and beef base, because just a spoonful of this stuff, man, it adds so much flavor to your food. Something I really like to do. Okay. All right, it's calmed down a little bit. Hopefully it will not come out all over my stovetop. Just give it, that smells so good. Whew. All right, now the time is very important right here. Hey Siri, set a timer for 30 minutes.
Okay, 30 minutes and counting.
It's gonna make that flavor concentrate. And man, you ain't never had nothing like this. So just put about a regular tablespoon of chicken base in there. Just strengthens that chicken flavor. And once our 30 minutes are up, we're gonna add all of our ingredients, turn it down to low, put a lid on it, and let it cook for like 3 hours, just so those flavors really have a chance to marry. I can still taste the cinnamon. I did just add some garlic whenever I added my roux, because remember we put that garlic in there. So I will taste it again after it's done boiling before I re-season it. Smells good. Okay. In the meantime, I'm going to cut up my sausage into about 1/2 inch pieces. Just slice it. And if you notice, I have my chicken that I pulled off the bone. I just throw everything into one bowl. That was the bowl I put under my strainer, this thing. So all the chicken juices that were out of the pan just ran back into the bowl, and I just tossed them back into the pot. So I said pan and then I said pot. I meant to say pot twice. I swear. No, not that pot. Cooking pot. You know, like that. Anyway. So I have my 7 sausages, and these don't have to be perfect, y'all. Just cut them. Oh, maybe I can cut 3 at a time. I was gonna say I can only cut 2 at a time because I'm using my baby knife. Using my baby knife. That saved me a minute or two. All right. So bam. And this sausage is already smoked. Once you have this sausage, you're never going to want any other kind of sausage again. It is that good. I'm not even kidding. Again, Cajun Grocer, link in the description of the video. Alright. Oh, I did pick up a can of Tony's while I was mucking about. I'm just going to open that. Bam! And we will re-season once this is done reducing. Now I'm going to cut my onion, not like before. I'm not going to quarter it. I'm actually going to cut it up. And it's going to go back in with everything else. I opened my okra and tomatoes so you guys wouldn't have to hear my janky can opener. It's one of those things in your kitchen that you just don't replace unless it breaks. And mine is stupid old. It doesn't even have the magnet on it to catch the lid anymore. You have to kind of stop it before it's done. Oh, I know I should get a new one. I just haven't. That's me being lazy bones. You can use dried onion. Use about half as much. It's very strong. Dried onion goes great on onion bagels though. Yes, please. UPS guy came again. Can you believe it? Like Christmas twice in one day. The first time he brought me screen protectors for my phone. And the second time he brought me my wireless extender for my office because I go back there and my internet keeps crapping out like 50,000 times a day and I can't do anything. It's annoying like you wouldn't even believe. So okay, like I said, I just kind of keep all this stuff in a bowl together. And then once that's ready, I just throw it in. My sink is kind of full. I did some other things while we were waiting. I'll just toss these in there because they don't hurt nothing. Sometimes I drain them, sometimes I don't. Today was a non-drainy day. Alright, I think that's everything from my list. Okay, it says there's optional 2 whole stalks of celery sliced thinly. This is if you don't want to use seed or don't have any. Obviously I use seed, so I'm not going to go get the stupid celery. I don't like celery in my food that much anyway, so and Tony's sachets to taste. Alright, I'm going to throw some of these things back in the fridge. Ended up not needing your tablespoon measuring spoon again. But I have a lot of trash. So I'm going to finish this up and I will see you guys when the 30 minutes is over. Alright? Cool. Hey guys, I'm back. Our gumbo base here has been cooking for 30 minutes. It has significantly reduced in size. But what I'm going to do right now is taste it. Decide if it needs more salt or any of that. We're actually going to add some more pepper to it because yum. Holy crap, that's good. Alright. It does not need more salt because the Tony's has salt in it. So I'm going to add a little more Tony's just to punch up the spice level. And then pop that back in my pantry. So I have my bowl full of yumminess. And I'm going to put that in here very carefully. There's some liquid from the tomato and okra. So sausage, chicken, all those onions. I didn't even bother breaking the chicken up. And I will serve this over rice. Just boiled rice. A lot of people serve it over potato salad, that's perfectly fine if that's the way you want to do it. Potato salad is potato salad is potato salad. And some people like to have some vinegar alongside it, which, yum! It adds that little bit of extra tartness. Oh, y'all need to see this when it's done. Now I'm going to bring this up to a boil. Then I'm going to reduce the heat and pop a lid on it. I'm turning it low and pop a lid on it. those spices hit the back of your throat. Just like that. And with that reshard sausage in there, it's spicy too, so it's going to add a little extra kick. Wow, that's good. Okay, so this isn't going to come to a hard boil, just kind of a rolling boil. Then I'll turn it down to low. It's going to cook for, it's 245. We usually eat around 6, so about 3 hours. Just those flavors just going to marry in there and get happy. It's going to be so delicious. And then at that point, I will be back to have a bite with you guys. I will have my rice cooked. We'll be all good. If you know what, I'm gonna pop back in and show you how I cook my rice too, because I've been reading some crazy stuff online about how people be cooking rice, and I'm just like, that ain't how you cook rice. So, so we're gonna do a little rice lesson. I do prefer jasmine rice to long grain or short grain rice. It just has a great flavor and a great smell, but it is what it is. So I'm gonna cook this. I will be back in about 3 hours. I will see you guys then. Hey guys, I'm back. My gumbo's been cooking for a little while. It ain't quite ready yet, but I'm gonna go ahead and make this rice so you guys can kind of join me. Alright, so let's get rid of some popular myths. You don't need to rinse your rice. That's washing the starches right off of them, unless you just want it to fall apart. Alright, I have 2 cups that are exactly the same size. See this? Exactly the same size. Now jasmine rice takes 1 1/4 of the amount of liquid to the amount of rice. But this is long grain white rice because I can't find no jasmine rice here anymore. Don't know why. So I'm going to cook 2 cups of this. That makes a lot of rice. So I put 2 cups of rice into my pot. Go figure. And it just goes right in the pot. Ain't no rinsing necessary. You don't have to do all that. Sure, you may end up with a rice husk or 2 in there, but it ain't gonna kill you. It cooks just fine. So, to that, we of course add some salt, because you got to season everything that goes anywhere near your food. Be generous. I probably put about 2 teaspoons of salt in there. It's just coarse salt. Now, for this second cup, I'm going to do 2 times the water, because that's what long grain rice takes. I start with hot water. Ain't no shame in that. And I'm going to fill this cup that was exactly the same size as the cup I measured the rice 4 times. Makes sense, right? Now, a lot of people down in Louisiana, they just got a rice cooker. It says, you know, you put this much rice, you put this much water, you press the button, and it cooks it for you automatically. It's the coolest thing ever. It is. Ain't dirty. All I had in it was some water. You notice I kept my rice cup in my rice bowl. Alright, now we're going to put this down. We're going to turn it over some high heat. High heat. We've got to bring it to a boil. And this is vegetable oil. You can thank me later. Add about a tablespoon of vegetable oil to the top of your pot. A, helps it not stick to the pot as badly. B, it kind of makes it not boil over. Like, once it starts to boil, it tends to crawl the sides of the pot. With the oil in there, it actually kind of keeps that down a little bit. So you don't have all these bubbles like trying to take the lid off your pot. Alright, anyway, whatever. So we're going to let that come to a boil. Once it comes to a boil, don't pop the lid right on it exactly as soon as it boils. Turn it down, let it sit for a minute if you're cooking on a cooktop. If you're on gas, you ain't got no worries. But if you're on a cooktop, turn it down to like 2, 3. Let it sit for a minute and then put the lid on it, or your pot's going to boil over every time, okay? Turn it on, leave it alone, let it boil, turn it down, leave it alone, put a lid on it, and let it sit, all right? Cooking time varies. When you can smell it, it's done. Okay, I'm going to let this cook, and I will be back with you guys when it's done, and we will have ourselves a little bowl, because I'm waiting on my family tonight, a little bowl of gumbo. All right, see y'all then. Hey guys, I'm back. Now my rice is done. It probably took it 15, 20 minutes or so. I could smell it. I knew it was finished. Fluffy, rice. So you can just kind of stir it up off the bottom of the pot, take it off the heat so it doesn't brown. You don't want it to be brown and crispy. Looks lovely. Sticks to everything, which makes it perfect, but it's not stuck to the pot, that's awesome. That's what I was looking for. So I'm gonna grab myself a little bowl like this. I'm gonna put myself a little gumbo in there. Start with a little rice. Don't ask. Okay, so a little bit of rice. And I'm gonna need a soup dipper. I know it's called a ladle. Y'all won't make fun of me. Alright, just a little. I promised my family I would eat with them, so gonna make sure I have a little chicken and a little sausage in there. Mmm, yum yum. Okay, get myself a spoon. I'm coming over there, and we will have a little bite ski. Alright? Alright guys, here we go. Diving into this gumbo. I can't wait for y'all to see a picture of this. It looks amazing. It's got all this sausage and chicken and okra. Yum. Now if you want to actually see the pieces of your okra, you can wait until about 10-15 minutes before you take it off and just dump them in there because they're already cooked. If you're using fresh okra, probably do 45 minutes. Oh my god. I miss home. I grew up in Louisiana, lived there for 20 years before I moved to Tennessee. Lived there for 14 years before I moved to Georgia. Now I'm giving you how old I am. Y'all gonna start to see. Look at my hair. It's all crazy today. I got this top bun going on. You know, this is just spicy enough. I tasted it earlier. I didn't have to adjust anything. It was perfect. Alright guys, well I hope you liked this video. If you didn't, I'm very sorry, but there's always next week, right? There is. Give me a thumbs up if you thought it was amazing. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. There's a button around here somewhere. And then go check out some of my other videos because we cook. It's fun. It's your kitchen. You can't really do it wrong. I give you all the alternatives to the things, so get on them. Be sure and share social media. I'm at Write Joe Michaels everywhere. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, everywhere. WRITE because I'm a writer also. What do we got going on for this month? I don't really know, but you have some really good things coming this quarter. And I may just surprise you all and teach you how to cook jambalaya. So that's something to look forward to too, right? Right. All right, I'll see y'all next time.